right, Aaron. So we did the track day, and I think we learned a little bit about the Chevy SS. What are your thoughts? How did remembering the track go for you?
Uh, hadn't been on any tracks since the early 2000s with my 240. Streets of Willow, never been on. Had only been on Big Willow when I had gone before. Had gone out with the track day. They did for the beginners, do the run around with
Good old lead follow.
the lead follow, which went pretty good. Pretty good. When I went out by myself, didn't remember the lines.
Happens to the best of us.
But the car did, in my opinion, pretty well for being 100% stock.
So within the coaching aspect, right, a big thing of getting Aaron up to speed is just getting him on track, right? So that's literally, when I say getting him on track, I mean putting him in the seat and getting him online, hitting apexes, driving correctly, and then using the pedals correctly. Big thing also is hands. What is he doing with his hands? So that's a big part of what we're working on with Aaron to make sure he's a good, productive driver, as well as the big obvious, and that's giving track awareness. Big thing for a lot of people is when they get in the zone, they're trying to get a lap. They have no track awareness except for themselves. So we're continually trying to make sure Aaron has full track awareness as he goes out. But that's going to be a big part of how he's going to be able to pick up good, solid chunks of lap time as we go out and go hit the track.
The suspension, they're for being stock, in my opinion, was pretty decent. There were some things that we'll address it later, but the power was there. It has the LS3 that all comes in it. It's 100% stock. Nothing's been done to it. Might get a tune done just to get it that it's more custom for the track use, since a lot of people drag race these cars. I don't know if that's the way they have them set up, more towards that type of acceleration. Springs, sway bars, that stuff probably will happen in the future. The grip out of the Vitor tires, I never had an issue. The only issue I ever had was just me being out there too long, having too much fun. Tires started getting oily and not doing what they were supposed to do, so I'd end up coming in. Brakes, I thought pushing it as hard as I thought I was going, I would have brake issues. Brakes never even gave me a hint of brake fade, anything, which kind of surprised me, especially due to the weight of the car.
Yeah, absolutely. The big factor here is a big stock, pretty heavy car. That essentially the only thing we did to it was rotors, pads, blend the brakes. Yeah. We did basic maintenance items.
Yeah.
And then the big kicker there is we threw the Vitor tires on for the extra grip.
Yeah.
And like you stated, the expectations I think were met, where going out, beating the crap out of the car for lap after lap after lap, and with the alignment the way it was always going to be a little on the tricky side in terms of handling.
And it also does have the Brembos, so it does have the actual bigger brakes on it too, which probably
big help
there too.
But yeah, I mean, essentially able to get the car, run it hard, and then get it to a point where like greasing it in that type of thing, which to expectation, they are 200 tread wear street tires, so expectation met. All right, so we're going to check out this clip of Aaron driving at Streets of Willow and get some ideas of what we were talking about in terms of understeer and not getting the car to rotate and just overall impressions.
And not being online at all.
And we'll evaluate some of his lines a little bit. All right, so Aaron has a guy right in front of him that he's able to kind of trace and see what he's doing. And he's not doing too bad in the line aspect here. But again, his hands. He's got one hand on the wheel, one hand on the shifter. Really has got to work on that hand so he can get a good feel for what the car is trying to do to him the entire time he's going around the track. In this case, he's going a little slow and just kind of taking it easy. But again,
Just trying to work it through, get an understanding, not using all the edge of the track there, really not optimizing what he could do in terms of speed coming out, being a little tentative through here, not quite giving it all the beans. Obviously, you also have another beginner in front of him, showing a very ill-advised line. You can see here a lot of improvement to be made, and go from there.
So kind of give me an idea, like, of corner entry, mid-corner, and corner exit. Like, what do you think the car was doing?
One thing that I did notice that was my lack of talent. I never really noticed it too much, but then when I had gone out with you, we did some running around. You were giving me a little bit of coaching. You throwing it around way more than I thought it was capable of getting thrown around. It was, and I've noticed it just driving, that there is understeer there.
Yep.
Which, even just going through the local canyons, I had noticed it a little bit, but even on track, and this was after we put the new tires on, I didn't notice it as much as before. But yeah, it doesn't want the rear end doesn't want to rotate.
I would agree. That was probably the biggest takeaway that I had coming from it. Is essentially the car, you'd bring it, dive into a corner, and it would initially turn in and then start to understeer through mid-corner. And as you go to corner exit, you would think that you'd be able to jump on the throttle and really get some rear end action out of it. And it really didn't. It just started pushing the front end even more. So that was kind of a weird thing. I think we also noticed the other weird thing is it always felt like you were power shifting.
Yeah. The clutch likes to pop really badly, which after getting on some of the pages, I guess it's been a known issue. There's a guy that makes a different clutch spring for it to make it more of a linear feel to it. That's been ordered. Yeah, because Mark was yelling at me when he was coaching me to quit popping the clutch, which I wasn't.
It just felt like he was bam, bam the entire time.
Yeah, and I had noticed it. That was one of the things I did notice when I was out by myself, that it was very unsettling because it would unsettle the whole car.
And that was the biggest takeaway, was every time you shifted. So if you had to do any type of shifting, like in the bowl or something, to downshift, the pop that you would get out of it would unsettle the car. So later on, as we progress through this, it would definitely be a hindrance.
Yeah.
And the current state, not too much. We were understeering like crazy, so it was really hard to even get the car to really do what we wanted to do. But I think overall, I think the car did exactly what we expected of it.
Yeah.
So
first lap out, I ran by myself after doing the lead follow. It was a low 139. Then I went back out, ran a 138, and then asked Mark if he would go out with me, give me some pointers on where I should be, what line I should be on, and all that. And we went around, I think, twice, and then we went into hot pit. He jumped in, went out, did a lap, just him just smashing on it, which really surprised me on actually how much further I could push the car. Didn't really think it could be pushed that far, being the way but being 100% stock. Think you ran a 132 is what you had ran in those two sessions, just first time driving the car. So went back in, let the car cool off, and then I'd gone out for another session, probably about midday. I think it was after lunch. Ended up getting down after your coaching and trying to get the lines that you were doing. We got down to a 136.
In this clip, you can see Aaron's definitely growing his confidence. It's definitely a situation where he's able to push the car harder. He's on throttle earlier, and as you can see here, he attacks this much more proficiently than he did previously when we saw him following behind another student. So this is definite growth that we'd like to see in the first day. Still some areas to address, but we want to take it one step at a time, one corner at a time, to allow for the growth to happen in a productive manner.
So some substantial growth from the first part of the day. You dropped 3 seconds in your first day with the car.
Yeah.
And like we said, I think the biggest hindrance of this car as of this state is just simply there's a lot of understeer turns. So everything you're doing is kind of just working with that understeer to make yourself go around the track. So it basically pushes you to kind of slow down in every corner and do those things, which is good because in an aspect of learning, regaining your confidence as a driver, it's going to help in getting you to slow down for those corners and so on and so forth.
Yes.
But as we push the limit and do more things with this car, big thing that we're going to do is we're going to get rid of a lot of that understeer factor, which I think at the end of the day is just going to make the car exponentially more fun.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's going to be a huge bonus and something that we're really going to see and enjoy as we go through and learn how to really build this car out in a more exceptional way. So what are our future items? What is our immediate future items?
Right now, in future video here shortly, we got the white line sway bars for it. Those are actually sitting at the house waiting to be installed. Ordered the more linear spring for the clutch off one of the guys off the forum. So waiting for that to come in. And then actually had ordered, there's an intake that got installed last weekend. And then also long tube headers and an X-pipe because I was like out of state. So I could order it and get it shipped. So those will
might as well make the car sound good.
Yeah, might as well make it sound good. So when after all that gets installed, more than likely it'll get a tune. Figure out have a more track focus tune instead of the drag race tunes and stuff they do. So
I'd have to say we hope that and this will be interesting to see what the sway bars can do to dial out some of the understeer factor.
Yeah.
Now, I think we both understand and know that to really dial that completely out, we're going to be looking at having to do like camber plates or something of that nature.
We found a company, K-Mac. They make so different than what I've normally seen for camber plates, but it looks like a donut that goes in the top that allows for more camber. Also been looking at lowering springs, so those might get ordered shortly. But.
Gotcha. So could have lowering springs, could have camber plates, maybe even coilovers. We have sway bars to install, a clutch spring to install, and an intake that's already been installed.
Yeah.
And a little bit of exhaust to make it sound a little bit nicer on track. And then it'll be fun because then we get to go see as we progress throughout this. We'll try different track. We'll probably be sticking to very home tracks, Willow Springs, going back and forth from like Big Willow to Streets of Willow, which is great because you have a lot of the short, little small twisties in Streets of Willow, and then you have a lot of the long sweeping corners in Big Willow that can really help you dial in a car. And you might even get to see a little wing action on a Chevy SS eventually. We'll see though. We'll see.
Yeah, there's been things already being thought out. I have some guys that do CAD design and CNC machine that I've already reached out to. We need to see if Mark's wing is as wide as what would need to go on the SS. So that might happen in the future.
So, all right, guys. Well, we're going to go back and forth, and we're going to go see what else we can accomplish, and we'll get you guys another video coming here shortly.